Good morning to you, and today we were going to complete chapter 7. Yesterday we had done up to page 132. Today we'll finish the chapter and I'll give you the question and answers. We'll discuss the question and answers of chapter 7. So we are on page 132. Page 132 of your book, The Government and Employment Generation. Okay. Page 132. You may recall about the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act of 2005. It promises 100 days of guaranteed wage employment to all the rural households who volunteer to do unskilled manual work. This scheme is one of the many measures the government has implemented to generate employment for those who are in need of jobs in the rural areas. Unskilled job means casual labor type of job. They can enroll and they would get their jobs. Since independence, the union and state governments have played an important role in generating employment or creating opportunities for the employment generation. The efforts can be broadly categorized into two, the direct and the indirect. In the first category, as you have seen in the preceding section, the government employs people in various departments for administrative purposes. It also runs industries, hotels, and transport companies, and hence provides employment directly to the workers. When the output of goods and services from the government enterprises increases, then the private enterprises which receive the raw materials from the government enterprises will also raise their output and hence increase the number of employment opportunities in the economy. For example, when a government-owned steel company increases its output, it will result in direct increase in employment in the government company. Simultaneously, private companies which purchase steel from it will also increase their output and thus employment. This is the indirect generation of employment opportunities by the government initiatives in the economy. Now in chapter 4, you would have noticed that many programs that the government implement are aimed at alleviating poverty, removing poverty. We are through employment generation. So one of the best ways to remove poverty is give a person a job. Alleviate poverty by employment generation. They are also known as employment generation programs. All these programs aim at providing not only employment but also services in areas such as primary health, primary education, rural drinking water, nutrition, assistance for people to buy income, and employment generating assets. Development of community assets by generating wage employment, construction of houses and sanitation, assistance for constructing houses, laying of rural roads, development and wastelands. In conclusion, there has been a change in the structure of workforce in India. Emerging jobs are found mostly in the service sector. The expansion of the service sector and the advent of the high technology now frequently permit a highly competitive existence for different small scale and often individual enterprises or specialist workers side by side with the multinationals. Outsourcing of work is becoming a common practice. It means that a big firm, finds it profitable to close down some of its specialist departments, for example, legal or computer programming or customer service sections, and hand over a large number of small piecemeal jobs to very small enterprises or specialist individuals, sometimes situated even in other countries. The traditional notion of the modern factory or offices as a result has been altering in such a manner that for many the home is becoming the workplace. Even now during the pandemic, if you know, many people are now working from home. So this is becoming their workplace. All of this change has not gone in favor of the individual worker. The nature of employment has become more informal, with only limited availability of social security measures to the workers. And in the last 2 decades, that is the last 20 years, there have been rapid growth in the gross domestic product, but without simultaneous increase in employment opportunities. This has forced the government to take up initiatives in generating employment opportunities, particularly in rural areas. Take out your copy and let us discuss the questions, and you can write down the answers to them. First one is, who is a worker? What will we answer this? We will say a worker is an individual who is doing some productive activity or an employment to earn a living. So this is how you will answer who is a worker. A worker is an individual who is involved in some productive activity to earn a living. Now come down now to question number 8. Question number 8. We are going to do a few questions. Question number 8. Question number 8 is, compared to urban women, more rural women are found working. Why? Yeah, what would be the answer to this? Answer would be, more rural women are found to be working because of their poor economic conditions as compared to the urban women, because of their poor economic conditions. Write that down. You can write it down in your book itself. Okay. Then the next is, come down to question number 13. Why are regular salaried employees more in the urban areas than in the rural areas? Write down. Regular salaried employees are more in urban areas because urban people have a variety of employment opportunities due to their educational attainments and skills, because of their educational attainments and skills. Moreover, the nature of work is different in urban areas, and the enterprises require workers on a regular basis. On the other hand, only 7% of the rural people, only 7% of the rural people are engaged as regular salaried employees, due to illiteracy, illiteracy, and lack of skills. Then the next is question number 16. Compared to the 1970s, there has hardly been any change in the distribution of workforce across various industries. Comment. Write down. It is true that not much change is observed. Not much change is observed in the distribution of workforce across various industries. This is because the plans did not emphasize the need for development the plans did not emphasize the need for development of non-agricultural rural employment industries and small scale village and cottage industries. Okay, the next question, 17th. Do you think that in the last 50 years, employment generated in the country is commensurate with the growth of GDP in India, and how? Answer. No. Employment generated in the country does not match with the growth of the GDP generally. The increased output is achieved by generating more employment opportunities. More employment opportunities. However, in the last 50 years, India has witnessed a jobless economic growth where there was an overall acceleration in the growth rate of the GDP without corresponding expansion in employment opportunities. It happened because rise in GDP occurred due to the use of modern and advanced technology, which substituted labor for machines. It failed to generate new employment opportunities and employment growth started declining and reached the level of growth that India had in the early stages of planning. India had in early stages of planning. Question number 18. Is it necessary to generate employment in the formal sector rather than in the informal sector? Why? Write down. With the reforms in 1991, you can add on, with economic reforms in 1991, there has been a significant rise in the informalization of workers. Since informal workers face uncertainty of making a living, it is surprising that such a high percentage of the total workforce prefer to be employed in the informal sector. All necessary steps should be taken to generate employment in the formal sector which is only 7% at present. So it is necessary to generate employment in the formal sector rather than informal sector, as more jobs in the formal sector will not only absorb workers from the informal sector, but will also help in reducing poverty and income inequalities. Now we come to question number 21. Who is a casual wage laborer? Answer. A casual wage laborer is the one who is casually engaged and get paid for the work done. He is not hired on a permanent basis, and he does not enjoy the social benefits and protection from the government. Okay. And the last question, 22. How will you know whether a worker is working in an informal sector? How will you know? Answer. A worker working in an informal sector is working in an informal sector if, number one, first point, such worker works in a private enterprise. Such worker works in a private enterprise which employ less than 10 workers. Example, farmers, agricultural laborers, etc. Second point, such workers do not get regular income and do not have any protection or regulation from the government. And the third point, such workers have the risk of being dismissed without any compensation. Okay, so this ends chapter 7. Tomorrow we will begin the next chapter, that is chapter 8, infrastructure. Okay, have a nice day and stay safe.